1 on Suddenlink Channel 112, live from Studio 318. I'm Reed Spencer, joined by my co-host Logan Moser, as always. A lot of news going on in sports.
Yeah.
Obviously, not Le'Veon Bell. He did not have a meeting. Antonio Brown has a meeting with the Steelers. The Alliance of American Football is missing payments, but gets a major investment. There was a little signing in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard
Yeah.
about that. Manny Machado did get his contract, 10 years, $300 million from the San Diego Padres. We're going to have baseball expert Jason Cliccio on in the second segment. I should refer to him, I guess, as the guy from the bullpen.
Yeah.
The segment we debuted on Monday. Really good baseball stuff. We're going to have him on to talk about everything going on in the MLB, the Machado signing, and then where and when Harper will sign and how he thinks for how much, because he was perfect on what he thought Machado was going to do in signing with the Padres. He wasn't the only one, but I'll give credit where credit is due. Cliccio got that one right. So we'll start with the Alliance of American Football. They had some payroll problems. That is not good.
That's definitely not good when you're a new league trying to fill a void.
No.
Making your players unhappy is not one of them. Just imagine what kind of payroll problems they would have if they signed Colin Kaepernick to that $20 million he wanted.
Well, it turns out probably Kaepernick was a little smart to avoid this league. Listen, anytime any business starts, anything like this, these problems arise. They always do. That's why you're never going to find a league that actually rivals the National Football League. It's going to have to be a minor league type league, and that's what obviously the Alliance of American Football is going to be. But they had great ratings. They had a good start. They had good competition. And then they missed payroll due to a system
system
change.
error.
I don't think the money was there.
I don't either. And you see it right there. They were saved last minute by a $250 million investment by Carolina Hurricanes owner.
Yeah. Tom Dundon, he had to escape the NHL. He still owns the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
But I would like a show of hands from us.
He owns the AAF now.
Yeah, how many people actually knew the Carolina Hurricanes were a real franchise?
Barrett.
There's one.
That's it.
And Tom Dundon, because he owns them. 2. I wouldn't say bails, but anytime you own something like that and then you invest $250 million, $250 million in a startup sports league.
Yeah.
Now he's the chair. Obviously, his attention is no longer on the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't know how much. Barrett didn't seem to think he was too invested in the first place, but now he is the chairman. He essentially owns the league.
Yeah.
For them to basically sell, I think it's fair to call it that, this soon and have payroll problems week 1, they can now meet those financial obligations because of that investment. But this seems a little scary if you're at least a player in the Alliance of American Football.
Absolutely. I mean, this is, like you said, it's hard to see a new football league rivaling the NFL just because stuff like this happens all the time. I'm sure whenever the new XFL starts up, we're going to hear something, not maybe along these lines, but something similar about how they've messed something up or something or other. They're just these bumps in the road with these new sports leagues, and one this big where you can't pay your guys that first week. That is not a good sign. It's 2 weeks old. The league's been going on for 2 weeks, so I'm worried about the future of the AAF.
I think, though, with this investment, certainly they can make it a couple years. I think that, quite honestly, people are, or at least in the AAF, are going to try and just survive for 2 years to get the NFL to buy it.
Right.
I think that's the ultimate goal. And I think if they continue on their, at least the competition trajectory that they're on, obviously they need to find, and I think they found that with the $250 million investment. But obviously, I'm not a businessman. I wouldn't know the first thing about running a league or investing that much money, which I will never have. But
Don't sell yourself short, Reed.
It just seems bad that we had the great ratings. Everyone was excited. And, yeah, week 2, the ratings took a dip. But I was expected. That was going to happen. That shocked no one. But if players are expecting a deposit in their account on Friday and then they go to look and it's not there, they may not show up the next week.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, now to have that in the player's head is not a good thing.
Right. It's absolutely not the kind of precedent you want to set for something like this. I don't know if it can make it a couple of years. I know $250 million is a lot of money, but I'll be interested to see if this thing can survive long enough to, like you said, the NFL just eventually buying it out and essentially creating a minor league kind of system. Do you think this could kind of replace the CFL as the place where...
I think it already has.
Okay.
I mean, did anyone really... I mean, a couple players went from the CFL to the NFL, but typically players went from the NFL to the CFL,
Right.
and that's where it ended. People now, I think, view it as I can take a step back to basically it's like baseball. I can take a step back down to they want the alliance to be AAA,
Yeah.
and not everyone in AAA gets a shot to the majors, maybe AA, but at least there's a chance. And you're not going to see everyone make that jump, but at least the jump is there. I don't think that exists in the Canadian Football League as much as it will in the AAF.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with this, and then the XFL starting up, I believe, in 2020. So that'll be next
Yeah,
year.
like that.
That'll be interesting.
That's one that will not last.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea that you can't pay your guys week one. Like, you don't even have that set up.
Yeah, it's bad news. Bad news. I wonder what the true. Of course, we certainly don't know, but it doesn't seem like the money was there because
Yeah.
as soon as they got this investment, then they were paid. It was more than just a system error.
Right. Well, maybe the system error was there wasn't enough money.
Yeah, the system error is we're broke,
Yeah.
boys. No one's getting paid. Well, it's certainly not good news for the AAF. Their championship game is April 27th, but do get that $250 million investment from Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon, which will help, and I think it'll keep them alive for at least for a couple years. And maybe a partnership with the NFL is there down the road, but that it will obviously we'll have to see about that. In the actual NFL, the league that doesn't struggle to pay its players, they don't always get paid what they want, but their their checks do not bounce.
Right.
They get the cash. Antonio Brown met with Rooney of the Steelers. First of all, I just want to start out by saying he wants to be known now as Mr. Big Chest.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't.
I don't know. He met with Antonio Brown. They agreed that it was time to move on. Does this change anything for you on how you perceive the Steelers or Antonio Brown?
If anything, it just confirms what we've all thought for a long time. They let stuff like this go on. And I mean, I could have told you it's time to move on. Like, I don't know why. I guess they had to have a meeting to make it, like, to fix the relationship or whatever they could fix with that relationship. But, I mean, they just, what did they do to mend this during the whole build up to this moment? They've done nothing. They seem to be doing nothing after the fact. I mean, the owner and Antonio Brown met, but where was Ben Roethlisberger? Where was Mike Tomlin? Where was anyone else? Any of the other coaches, anyone else Antonio Brown had a problem with during this whole ordeal? So, I mean, the Steelers they're the best drama in the NFL, and it shows.
Outside of the Raiders, I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
have the best storylines, but at least they're halfway decent and have these struggles. The Raiders are just simply
Bad.
garbage as an organization, the way they operate. But you look at Rooney, and they have his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, in the meeting with him, along with the executive and the general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They agreed that it's time to move on. They cleared the air, but there was two people missing from this meeting that I think was very important. Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin were not there. Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah. I mean, the head coach and your franchise quarterback, if anything, they should have been there probably more so than the agent of Antonio Brown or maybe even the general manager of the Steelers. Like, these are the guys that probably have the most communication with Antonio Brown on the team out of anyone, and they're not there. So I think that kind of confirms the stuff that Ben and Antonio Brown haven't been getting along for quite some time. And I don't know what it says about Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is, I can't decide if he's just a goober and doesn't know how to handle his players or what. And he's a great football coach. Obviously, he's won some Super Bowls for the Steelers. He was the right hire for them. But I don't know if they can keep him as their head coach moving forward if this is how he's going to operate. You know, and maybe they didn't invite him to the meeting. I don't know. But he definitely should have been there.
Well, the Steelers don't fire coaches. If this
It's
would have
true.
been any other franchise, he would have been gone a long time ago. The only Super Bowl he won was with Bill Cowher's players.
Yeah.
And ever since then, they've really struggled. They've been consistent. They've made the playoffs. They've won the division, but they haven't been able to win world championships, and that's partly because the New England Patriots have had their reign of dynasty. But, yeah, Mike Tomlin seems to be immature. He can't handle issues. But if I were Art Rooney, and Ben Roethlisberger, quite honestly, gives at least the illusion that he's a total jerk. He does.
It's a fair assumption.
I mean, he doesn't seem
at the very minimum, he is a jerk.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be a good teammate. He doesn't seem to respect other people. He was calling out James Washington on sports radio. I mean, that doesn't need to happen. Tom Brady doesn't call people out unless it's on the sideline.
Right.
There's a difference between a 5-time world champion and a guy who's more known for a motorcycle accident than he is a Super Bowl ring. And that's the truth of the matter. But they need to be in this meeting because they got Le'Veon Bell issues. They got Antonio Brown issues. They also have Big Ben and Mike Tomlin issues. And they, apparently, Brown and Rooney cleared the air. But I wouldn't say sell out Tomlin and Roethlisberger, but you would certainly think that they were brought up. Where does Art Rooney go from here? I don't know. I don't know where Art Rooney goes. Where do you think he goes?
I mean, I think the best thing to do is to move on from Mike Tomlin and pray that Ben Roethlisberger finally retires instead of just talks about retiring. And, if you can, move him. If he doesn't want to retire, move him. It's obviously time that this whole core is not going to work out. Antonio Brown will probably be gone before the start of training camp. Le'Veon Bell is probably going to be gone before the start of training camp. Why not just clean house?
I mean, I think it's too late now to obviously go out and get a coach. Big Ben's still the most talented quarterback on that roster, but you've got to put some personalities and some of those characters in check, which they haven't they haven't done that, and it's gone too bad. Do you think that Art Rooney should have said, hey, you're a great player, you're 31. 2 years ago, you agreed to a 5-year, $72 million extension, but here's my issue with you. When we beat the Chiefs in the divisional round 2 years ago, you were on Facebook Live and caught Mike Tomlin talking about the Patriots, which was meant to be a personal moment for the team and a motivator. That got out, caused an unnecessary storyline because you were on Facebook Live, which seemed to be more important to you than celebrating with your teammates.
Yeah.
You threw something off a high rise in Miami, which could have been very dangerous, and the police were called. You were in a domestic dispute. You are a social media diva on the field and off the field. You're ridiculous. You're immature. You're 31, and you want to be paid. Can't you just grow up? Won't that help the situation? If I'm not saying Big Ben and Mike Tomlin will get better, but can't you just grow up?
Yeah, I think this has gone too far I think you're right. He does have to grow up, but I don't think Antonio Brown can fix this by himself. And that's where it comes back to why weren't Mike Tomlin and Big Ben in this meeting? Because that's a thing for everyone. Everyone has to grow up. Big Ben can't be calling out teammates on the radio. Mike Tomlin can't be, just like prancing around the locker room letting guys do whatever they want. Like, it has to stop with him, I think. I think he has to be able to police his players. And he chose, whenever he got the job, he was a player's coach. He was super friendly. And guys have just walked all over him. Guys like Antonio Brown, Big Ben, and Le'Veon Bell have done whatever they've wanted without any repercussions whatsoever from the team. And I think that starts with Mike Tomlin. This quote has become famous since this whole Antonio Brown deal started. He said, "I'll deal with it as long as as long as the production outweighs the drama," or whatever he said. He said that a couple of years ago, and that's true here. I mean, that's just who he is. So I think you have to swallow this season and just start over next season. You have to start completely over. New quarterback, new coach, no Bell, no Brown. Just start over.
I absolutely agree. Do $2.5 million roster bonus on March 17th. There's a ton of dead money that will outweigh if they trade him by not having him on the cap later in the year. He wants a guaranteed, or at least more guaranteed money that he gets now. But Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, said yesterday they want it to work out for both parties, but the Steelers do control this trade. Rosenhaus will not, or Brown really won't have any part of it.
Yeah.
So you don't expect him to be in black and gold at the start of next season.
I do not.
We're going to take a quick break, make a call to the bullpen. Jason Colicchio is going to come out and tell us why or why not this was a good deal for the San Diego Padres and where Bryce Harper will be on opening day. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Tinker Federal Credit Union. Visit facebook.com/TinkerFCU. While you're there for your family, We're there for you. Tinker Federal Credit Union. And OSU Communications. Not sure where to park? OSU Communications has got you covered with parking tips and bus schedule information. We'll be right back.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome into One-on-One on Suddenly Channel 112, joined from the bullpen by Jason Colicchio. $300 million over the course of a decade from the San Diego Padres. They signed shortstop, third baseman. I don't know what he's going to play in San Diego.
Whatever he wants.
Manny Machado. You were on this on Monday. You said this is where he's going to sign. Kudos to you, by the way. You were right. Give credit where credit is due. Did you see him signing a $300 million deal?
I don't think anyone really saw him signing a $300 million deal, to be honest, because there was no reports about it. See, when he signed it, it was just Machado signs for a $300 million deal. There was no report coming out saying Machado is close to signing a 10-year, $300 million deal. It just happened. And that usually doesn't happen. It caught a lot of people off guard. It caught the White Sox off guard. Who, it's really sad for them. They signed two of Machado's best friends.
Oh.
They signed Yonder Alonso and they signed John Jay. Machado was married to Yonder Alonso's sister. So I guess they thought signing his brother-in-law would try to, coerce him into coming to Chicago, but that didn't happen. Is this $300 million deal, 10 years, he'll still be 36. He's not really, not really a big, what am I trying to say here? He's a big, all-star.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth $300 million. I don't know about 10 years. You see, that's like $30 million a year. That's a lot.
That's what I was going to say. The $300 million doesn't bother me. How good is he going to be in 10 years? Is he going to be able to earn $30 million a year in year 9 of this contract?
There is an opt-out after 5 years for Machado.
Okay.
So, the Padres are kind of watching their own backs, but I'm assuming that they think that the front office thinks that by that time, that 10 years is over, they're going to have a chip.
Okay.
And I think that's, what also as Harper is looking for.
Yeah, and the only thing I read yesterday, whenever this broke, was how great the farm system is for the Padres.
That's another thing, yeah.
Are they going to be good enough, I guess, to win a chip in the time frame of this contract? You can say they have a great farm system, but how often does the team with the best farm system in X amount of years end up actually being good?
Never.
That's kind of what I thought. If you have a great farm system.
Whoa. Over the last 10 years, the team with the rated highest farm system has made the playoffs within 2 years, except for the 2013 Royals, who followed up the next 2 years after that by trips to the World Championship, or World Series rather, and winning one of them. So the good farm system does translate to the playoffs. I don't know how much it translates. Championships, but it does translate to the playoffs more often than not. Here's my issue with it. This White Sox deal, you meant heartbreaker for the White Sox, but I mean, have you San Diego, Chicago, San Diego, Chicago.
That's what it comes down to.
I don't care about baseball.
Do I like the beach or do I like
Chicago?
What do they call the last big ice storm that was up there? What was it? The winter vortex? Yeah.
Minus 50-something degrees.
Yeah. Or could I could go to the beach? That's a tough decision, honestly.
Well, I mean, he is from Miami, so.
Yeah. Anyway, with that, it's, the farm system is important. But what they're going to do with that is they're going to take their farm system and they're going to shop it. That's what that probably people don't talk about, is that they shop the hell out of that.
They're just going to try and get more guys.
They're going to get pitchers is what they're going to need to get because their pitchers are not great. Their pitchers are like, all of them are negative in wins and losses right now. So that is definitely going to be the top thing. And the Padres are going to continue to do what the Padres have done for years. They're going to lose, and they're going to lose, and they're going to lose. But what they're also going to do is they're going to spend money on international players. They're even higher than the Yankees in international spending, surprisingly enough. $40-something million in the last 5 years on international players. And that's what I think they're going to build around Machado, is these guys from Cuba, these guys from Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. And right now, all eyes are on the front office, really, of the Padres. If they mess this up, I don't see how they can mess it up, really.
So, let me ask you this. The Padres did not make the playoffs this year.
They did not.
Do they make it next year?
They do not.
Do they make it the next year?
They do not.
The year after that?
They might make it that year.
Okay. So 3 years and you'll maybe make the playoffs.
I just don't see it. The 5 through 8 hitters on the Padres, the Bleacher Report came out with like a little projected lineup thing of their best players. Their 5 through 8 players, they've only played like 3 years each. The 8th hitter is a rookie, and their 7th hitter, their catcher, who they got from the Indians last year, this is his second year.
Okay.
They're young. I know everyone likes young players now.
Right.
They don't like signing the old guys, the veterans. That's why everyone's coming out and talking about a storm on Twitter.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of faith in these young guys coming up.
We'll have to see. Reed, when do you think they'll make the playoffs? How many years?
Well, I mean, there's a chance they could sneak into a wild card. I mean, you just have to play game 163 to technically make the playoffs.
That's true.
They're not going to be awful. But my deal is, over the past 2 years, they spent $474 million in free agency. They signed my guy Eric Hosmer now to a $144 million 8-year deal last year. A year to the day, they ink Machado to that 10-year, $300 million deal. The 25 seasons before that, combined $309 million spent in free agency. So they spent almost $200 million more in the past 2 off seasons than they have the 25 years before that. But they spent the majority of that on Hosmer and Machado. Hosmer's a really, really good player. Hosmer doesn't translate solely to championships. Machado, you talked about that White Sox deal. That White Sox deal was going to be worth more in the end, probably closer to $340 million based on incentives. But he went for the guaranteed money, which I think is the smart thing to do. But Machado, when asked why he didn't run to first base, his quote was, "It's just not my cup of tea." You gave $300 million to a guy who can't run to first base in July. I mean, sure.
Maybe that's why he went.
It's hot outside. I don't want to run when it's guaranteed out. But if you're giving $300 million to somebody, you want them to be known for more than not running to first base and stepping on somebody's ankle in the World Series. I mean,
and being terrible in that World Series.
He was decent in the playoffs. He wasn't great there. By the way, he was a free agent longer than he was a Dodger by 11 days.
Nice.
But 175 career home runs, that's more than the franchise leader in Nate Colbert at 163 for the Padres. I get the deal, and I get, you're right, they're going to take that because they didn't sign him to be good in 10 years. They signed him to win a championship in the next few, and the city of San Diego's never won one. They know, at least in my mind, that if they get guys like this and they can bring a championship, they will own San Diego. The Chargers are gone now. San Diego hates the Chargers. They can take over this city, which will be obviously will put a lot of money in the owners' pockets. But Hosmer got a championship for Kansas City, but that was not him. That was Lorenzo Cain. That was Wade Davis. That's a whole group of guys. But you mentioned those young guys. It's now Hosmer and Machado. Not two guys necessarily that I would be putting championship odds on.
Well, they have Ian Desmond. He's been there with the Rangers, but that didn't work out. So.
They didn't win Brady.
Sorry about that, Robin.
Which World Series are you talking about? He didn't make it. Did he make it to a World Series with the Rangers?
Yeah.
Oh, was he there when they lost the first or the second time?
I think it was the second.
Well, yeah, that was fun for me watching the Cardinals beat them because of a squirrel. But yeah, the Rangers haven't been able to get that championship. I don't think the Padres are going to be able to get a championship. And at the end, who's going to look dumb when in 5 years they maybe make one playoffs, get beaten in the DS, and Machado's like, yeah, thanks for my $300 million. Bye.
If he really wants that money that bad, he's not going to opt out. He might ask for a trade, but that's way down the road. We really shouldn't judge about what.
Well, there's no trade clause, so he would have to. He would have to guarantee it. It just seems like a good deal now, but at the end, I mean, it just seems crazy to me. By the way, what's even more crazy to me is this is the biggest free agent deal in American sports history, behind A-Rod's 10-year, $275 million deal.
The first 10-year deal he got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the second one.
Yeah, not the one with the Rangers, but the one with the Yankees. That was 16 years ago. That's how incredible that deal was for the Yankees, which he ended up getting a championship for him in 2009. But you could argue that was probably a bad deal in the end. He played well in that October, but not a lot the rest of the years. So I don't know. I don't see this working out well for the Padres, but you certainly have to commend the effort. I'll give you guys their odds, what the signing improved their odds. At Westgate in Vegas, they went from 80-1 odds to 50-1 odds to win the World Series. That's just from the Machado signing. Their win total only went from 76.5 to 78.5. So he's worth 2 wins. Their NL West odds improved from 30-1 to 12-1. There's still only 12-1 odds to win their division. The team he finished the year with, the Dodgers, are in that division. You have the Rockies, who are still good. The Diamondbacks they really choked at the end of last year, which is what they seem to do. But that's a good division. I don't see this working out well for the Padres.
I don't see it working out this year. I'm surprised at the 50-1 odds. That's a lot. You're not going to see Hunter Renfroe, Manuel Margot, Ty France. You're not going to see them at next year or the year after that. They're definitely they have a lot of work to do in San Diego to make sure that they get this chip that they spent so much money on, and they're really going to hope that this doesn't blow up in their face.
Does Bryce Harper sign for more or less than Manny Machado?
Well, I like this. Now, we were a couple weeks ago. There was a report saying that neither of them want to sign first.
Right.
I guess so. Machado ended up signing first, kind of like jumping in the pool kind of thing. No one wants to jump first, but Harper. I think Harper might get more actually.
310.
Maybe I'm not gonna say an insane amount like 350 million. I'm gonna say maybe 310.
Okay.
315, 320 around that.
Is
range.
it 10 years? Or is it shorter?
It might be longer actually.
Where? Ooh.
I think it's gonna be an 11 to 12 year like Giancarlo Stanton.
That worked out well.
Yeah, we'll see about it though.
Do you think he would play though? Because if he signs that 12-year 310, he's making more or making less per year.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting debate, but I think Harper is more interested in a ring than he is money, like Machado is.
Where and when does he sign?
I think he signs by the end of this week. I think he signs with the Philadelphia Phillies.
You mentioned wants a ring. They've improved a lot over the past few years.
The Phillies?
Are the Phillies in position to win a title? Obviously, a lot can change in a decade.
Yes.
But let's look at this 3 to 4 year window. Are the Phillies more inclined to win a title in that window than the Padres?
The Phillies, I think, have a more well-rounded lineup than the Padres. They also have some pitching problems. Don't get me wrong, but they have at least a 1 and maybe a 2 in Nola and Arrieta. So yes, I think that the Phillies have a way better chance. Not way better. They've got a slightly marginal better chance than the Padres.
Is there any chance he signs with your New York Yankees?
I think that's all out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Yankees are going to have to do what they have. They didn't have a bad off season.
Yeah.
But it's not Harper and Machado.
Right.
We'll see what happens this season. I'm excited.
Well, always always watch, obviously, the show, because Logan and I are on here, hello. But make sure you tune in on Mondays to see the bullpen with Jason Cliccio and Barrett Guest. Thanks for coming on and explaining this baseball stuff to non-baseball guys like Logan and myself.
No problem.
Well, baseball season is firing up. You got a lot to talk about here in the weeks coming. We're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about what Pat Riley had to say about LeBron James leaving and everything going on in the NBA. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Welcome into One-on-One on Suddenlink Channel 112. You're seeing LeBron there in the All-Star game. One of the greatest players of all time. I say one of because we can't have that debate right now. We don't have enough time. But we all know that he made, in front of the Boys and Girls Club, that move from Cleveland, took his talents to South Beach, and joined Pat Riley, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh.
Yes.
The first really of this generation of dynasties and what's the term you would use for all these players? Super teams.
Player movement, player created super teams. But yeah.
So he goes, joins, and then obviously after, was it 3 or 4 years in Miami?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years, 2 titles.
4 trips
Not
to
one,
the finals. But
not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
The moment that will live, and it would be the greatest cold take of all time.
Is.
The greatest LeBron cold take is from LeBron himself. But obviously they get those 2 titles. They lose to the Mavs, beat the Spurs, lose to the Spurs, beat the Thunder. They had some success. I don't think it was a shock to anyone that he left Miami.
No.
Because once he left, we kind of questioned his loyalty. Now he's obviously on the Lakers. But what was weird is that he went to Cleveland because of the letter that Dan Gilbert wrote, how the fans treated him when he left. But he still came home and eventually got them a title. But Pat Riley, why he's talking about it now, I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But he was with Dan Le Batard on ESPN and said that as soon as LeBron called him, he threw a dynasty out the window. Obviously, no joke. You weren't winning one with an aging Dwayne Wade. And in all fairness, Chris Bosh was probably going to get you one on his own, and he had unexpected health problems, which is not fair to blame him for. That's just it was life, and unfortunately that happened. But they've made the playoffs a couple times since LeBron left, but Eric Spoelstra and the Heat largely have been non-existent since LeBron left.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pat Riley has not helped them at all. He has signed guys to atrocious contracts. Hassan Whiteside makes something close to $20 million a year. That's untradeable. They moved one of their bigger contracts, actually, but they had to take I think they had to give up I can't remember what they had to give up, but they had to give up an asset to get rid of that contract. I mean, Pat Riley, he put that team of LeBron, Wade, and Bosh together, and you got to give him credit for that, I guess, even though it seemed like it was going to happen almost anywhere. They just chose Miami. But, I mean, you got to give him credit for that. And, yeah, you're right. You're not winning without LeBron James. I don't care who else you have. During that time, at least, he was far and away the best player in the league. There was no argument for anyone else. What was it? That would have been his 4th straight year to go to the finals. He would go on to go to 3 more straight with Cleveland before he went to L.A. And
I think that streak's coming to an end, by the way.
Yeah, I would. That's a good bet. But, I mean, what was I saying? Yeah, if LeBron leaves, your title chances are gone, especially if you're in the East back then. So I'm with you, though. I don't know why he's talking about it right now, and I don't know why he acts like that's surprising. Like, everyone knew that.
Yeah, like we're supposed to take a giant gasp when he's like, Dynasty flew out the window.
Yeah.
We all saw it fly out the window. The sports world was the window. I get that. But he said in this interview that he imagined LeBron being there for 10 years, maybe going to 8 finals, winning more than just the 2 championships. They had a good 4-year run. But 4 years, really, it seems like it went by like that.
Yeah,
I mean, look at this
really
Warriors run. We're in, what, year 5 of this? Year 4 of probably winning a championship. But
yeah, 5 of this Golden State run.
And theirs was over in 4 years. So kind of crazy to think about. But let's assume he stayed. We're theorizing here. He does stay. How many titles do they have in Miami? Because I'll remind you, that wouldn't have affected Golden State by any means.
I think that Miami team could have beaten Golden State that first year just because, well, I can't say that because Dwayne Wade might have gotten injured in the playoffs like Kyrie and Kevin Love both did when LeBron played Golden State that first time. But past that, they might have won 1 more. They definitely wouldn't have won any after they got Kevin Durant, so maybe they win 2 more. Maybe they win, 14-15 and 15-16. They might have won those 2.
Maybe Kevin Durant's wearing a Heat uniform right now.
Oof. They had their chance at Kevin Durant. They had their chance in free agency, and they decided to go with Hassan Whiteside for $25 million, Goran Dragic for $18 million, James Johnson for $14, Kelly Olynyk for $12, Dion Waiters for $11.5, and Chris Bosh is on for $26, but obviously
not playing.
They're getting insurance for that, so that's not technically on the books. So they decided to spend their money elsewhere instead of for Kevin Durant.
Well, yeah, probably not the best option, but even if they would have offered more, I think he probably still would have gone to Golden State for the opportunity to win. But yeah, how many champs? So
2 at the most.
2 at the most.
1, I think 1 realistically.
I mean, my deal with this is just, why are we having this discussion right now? I don't understand it. I simply don't understand it.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll never know how many they would have won because obviously now he's in L.A., Pat Riley's old home. So you look at the worst teams in the league, and you're going to find the New York Knicks. But if you look at the most valuable team in the NBA, you're going to find the New York Knicks.
Right.
Worth over $5 billion, according to Forbes. There's been some rumblings that James Dolan might be open to selling the New York Knicks. That might send parades through the streets of New York City. People would be ecstatic.
Right.
But him and his family are the majority owners of MSG.
Right.
MSG quickly was like, no, he's not listening to offers. But James Dolan's a loose cannon. I mean, this guy's insane.
Yeah.
He inherited a company. He basically inherited the Knicks.
Yeah.
He plays in a garage band more than he does ownership stuff. He's crazy. He's not a good owner.
Yeah.
But he has several times said, maybe if the right offer came along, you've always got to be opening to hearing it. And the company's like, no.
Right.
No. It would take some more than just James Dolan okaying it, although his family is the majority shareholders. It would take more than just James Dolan. But if he did sell, how much would this team go for? Because remember, the Rockets sold for almost twice what they were valued at.
Right.
Steve Ballmer went way overboard buying the Clippers.
Yeah.
Sports franchises always sell for more than what they're valued at. This
Right.
baby's valued at over $5 billion. What would the New York Knicks sell for?
I feel like you'd see a $6.5 billion kind of number.
I think it would get closer to 9. I think
you'd have to. I would.
I mean, it would have to be an ownership group.
Right,
You wouldn't be.
right.
You'd have to get multi-billionaires because you don't really see the guys that are worth tens of billions of dollars really don't invest. I mean, you see Steve Ballmer and Paul Allen before he unfortunately passed away owned the Trailblazers and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But outside of that, most of these guys have been in this business a long time and really don't have much money outside of their sports franchises.
Right.
But it would take a lot to buy the New York Knicks. But I just want to remind you something really quickly. They bought the Warriors for $400 million.
Yes.
They're now over almost $3 billion because they won those championships.
Yeah. Imagine what the Knicks would be worth if they were good.
Imagine what
It would be
Knicks-
double. They would be worth $10 billion. They're the worst team in the league right now.
They're tied for wins with the Oklahoma State Cowboys at 10. I mean, they ended an 18-game losing streak before the All-Star break. Just imagine what they would be worth if they were a winning team. $5 billion and they suck.
It would easily be $10 billion if they were good. And if they get the right guy in there, maybe they can be good. I don't know. It would have, like you said, it would have to be an ownership group. I don't think any one person's going to put up 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 or 10, like you were saying. I don't know. I think he said it just because there's not going to be anyone to come forward and make a real offer. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, yeah, sure, I'll listen. But it's kind of like Colin Kaepernick. I want $20 million from the AAF. James Dolan might be like, I want 12. I want $12 billion based on what it's worth and the streaming rights and stuff like that. You'll make that back. It's worth actually much more than that. So I don't know if we'll ever see it. I hope we do because people like Jason Colicchio deserve a better owner than James Dolan.
I mean, they had George Steinbrenner. He's a Yankees fan. I mean, and of course, he was a bit of a loose cannon ownership. He fired people just to fire people, I think. But he won world championships. James Dolan.
They got the worst of
bad.
the Dolan brothers, honestly.
Is there a good Dolan brother?
I think the other one's quite successful and not hated. Maybe because he doesn't own the Knicks.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. But they need to find a new owner because that's really been the hang-up of the front office. That's just going to have to come from up top. Is there a legitimate chance James Dolan ever sells the Knicks?
Yeah, I think so. I think because everyone hates him for it. Everyone makes fun of him for how bad he runs the Knicks and the garage bands. He cares more about his garage band than he does the New York Knicks. So I think eventually he'll get tired of people just destroying him on social media and on TV and stuff like that, and he'll just finally say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. I'll sell that. Keep the arena. You know, put the money I get from selling the Knicks into the arena, make it better for concerts and game stuff like that maybe. So I think it's very realistic that we could see him sell.
Well, he's basically obviously the owner of the Knicks and the chairman of MSG.
Yeah.
I'm not quite. Maybe we'll have to have Colicchio on, our baseball expert and our Knicks expert, to explain the MSG and the Knicks relationship because it's obviously a confusing one. But it would be really, really difficult, and it would take a long time to get that sale.
Yeah.
Done from top to bottom because they do have. They're worth so much and they have so much going on in the busiest city in the country in that sports market. It would be difficult, but I'm like you. I think there's a real possibility that they do sell.
Yeah.
Well, we got to take a quick break. We were going to get to James Harden, but we can get to that on Friday and his necessity and what he's scoring. But we're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about Oklahoma State ending their losing streak and what the Cowgirls can do to do the same tonight. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Air National Guard. Contact Oklahoma Air National Guard at 800-GO-TO-ANG or visit their website at goang.com/OK for more information about how to get 100% college tuition. And Unitarian Universalist Church. If you're looking for a church home, visit Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater, located at 320 South Stallard Street. They offer an alternative spiritual path and welcome all races, religions, and beliefs. They're also LGBTQ friendly. Services every Sunday at 10:30. We'll be right back.
Stillwater Medical Center now offers a convenient way to view your health information online. It's secure, easy, and free. Our hospital and clinic patient portals allow you to view results and reports, medications and allergies, track visit histories, view upcoming appointment information, and see your statements. To enroll, go to stillwatermedical.com and click on the patient portal link near the top right of the page. If you have questions, please feel free to call 405-533-6010.
Welcome into One-on-One on Sunlink Channel 112. Seen there, Logan, the Cowboys get their first win in 8 conference games, their first win in 5 games, ending that losing streak.
I am so glad we get to talk about OSU basketball and we do not have to talk about how they blew a lead, how they got blown out, how they were too tired. We get to talk about a victory.
A victory nonetheless in the Big 12, a 68-61 win for the Cowboys, a game mostly where they held the lead. They got up to 14 points. They played really, really well. And after the game, Mike Boynton talked about how Cam McGriff's not 100%. Lindy Waters has been dealing with that left knee injury.
Right.
Didn't matter. They won 68-61. Positivity, Logan.
Yeah.
Positivity in Oklahoma State basketball. I mean, Isaac Likely played well. Thomas DeZongwa, by the way, has been on a ridiculous streak.
Yes.
Tying his career high in back-to-back games with 23 points. Without DeZongwa, they wouldn't even be close down in Texas on Saturday.
No.
And without Thomas DeZongwa, they wouldn't have won Monday night.
Right. Yeah, like you said, 6 of 11 from 3. I mean, great game. Great stretch by Thomas DeZongwa, like you mentioned. And I'm impressed with Curtis Jones off the bench. You know, talking about how he needed to shoot it a little better. 3 for 9, not great, but you know, not 0 for 5. Made a good impact. I thought everyone, Cameron Griff, like you said, I think it's pretty obvious he's not 100%.
Yeah.
0 for 7 last night. That's 4 free throws, though, so 4.6 rebounds. He's not going to have time to get healthy either. That's the unfortunate thing. He'll have to get healthy in March after the season's over. But Yorane continues to just, I think he gets better every game. I think he gets noticeably better every single game he plays. 4 points, 5 blocks, 4 rebounds. That doesn't jump off the stat sheet, but he had a good impact on the game. And I think Hallie said it whenever we talked to her last week. He has a chance to be a really good player for Oklahoma State in the next couple of years as he continues to improve. So, great team win. I'm just so happy that we get to talk about a team win for the Cowboys.
Yeah, imagine how Mike Boynton and the Cowboys feel to finally kind of get over, you know, this losing streak, set the school record at 8 straight conference losses in a row, which obviously had never been done before. They enjoyed a win. They deserved it the way they played. Especially, again, can't talk enough about Thomas Dzongwa. Led the team in minutes and points. Those 23 in back-to-back games is impressive. 6 from 11 beyond the arc in this one, 8 of 14 from the field. You just got to love what they've been able to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, they did shoot 81% from the free throw line. That's not great, but it's vastly improved from what it has been at some parts this season. So you got to like that. Shooting 44% from behind the arc. That's big.
Yeah.
I mean, Lindy Waters was 3 of 6. They did only shoot 37 or 38, I guess, 37.9 from the field to TCU's 43.4. But good defense, only allowing 61 points from TCU, a team that they could have beat down in Fort Worth, but lost at the buzzer 70-68 on February 6th. So this drops TCU to 17-9. The Cowboys improved to 10-16. Obviously, this does not make them a tournament team. This doesn't change a lot in the grand scheme of things. TCU had kind of worked themselves out of a chance at a Big 12 title over the last couple of weeks. Lost to the Sooners on Saturday before this.
Yeah.
The stretch now for the Cowboys is at 23 Kansas State, at number 14 Texas Tech, who they lost to by 28, versus number 12 Kansas, who they got beaten by in Lawrence, at Baylor, a team that's on a pretty good streak now, just beat Iowa State in Ames last night, and then West Virginia, a team that they beat earlier in the season and is having a similar season to the Cowboys. You would think they would be able to win at home. But this 3-game stretch here, really 4-game stretch, at K-State, at Texas Tech, home for KU, at Baylor. This is a brutal stretch. What do you see the Cowboys doing in these next 4 games?
Do you want me to be honest? Or
Yeah.
They're going to start another losing streak.
Okay.
It's probably going to be another
4?
Probably another 4-game losing streak until you get to that West Virginia game and hopefully end the year on a win. But those are 3 super tough games. These next 3. Kansas State, nothing to mess around with. Texas Tech, we saw what happened there. And Kansas is Kansas. Although the Cowboys do always play Kansas pretty close at home, so maybe they can steal that one. And there's not a lot of maybe there'll be some good days. Maybe we can come in and talk about an upset in the coming weeks, but I'm just going to enjoy this TCU win for now.
Rightfully so. They earned it. A good win for the Cowboys. Out of these 4, which are they most likely to pull out a victory in?
This is going to sound weird, but Kansas.
Just because of the history at home?
Yep. Just because it's in GIA, everyone shows up for Kansas games here, and they've had a lot of trouble here the past couple of years. Obviously, we beat them last year. I think 2 years ago was the first time they had beat us in GIA in almost 4 years or 5 years. So it's a tough place to play. These guys love to play Kansas. It was pretty close in Lawrence up until the end.
Yeah,
so.
if they could just sustain that second half run, I mean, I don't know if they win, but it's going to be a lot closer than that.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's the best chance they have at an upset. And then at Baylor, we'll have to see. It was pretty close whenever it was here, but obviously going to Baylor, that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
so
especially if they keep playing the way they played the past couple of games.
Right. So I think that Kansas game is the best chance they have at an upset.
So the Cowboys put an end to that 5-game losing streak and 8-game conference losing streak. Obviously, the break in that losing streak was to South Carolina in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. So the Cowgirls are in a bit of a losing streak themselves.
Yeah.
They were now 13-11. I mean, they've dealt with much of the same things. Not a ton of points off the bench, not having reliable offense, some stretches of not being able to score. They're hosting West Virginia tonight, who's 18-6. They lost to West Virginia earlier in the year, 67-58. What do the Cowgirls have to do to get a win? I think the answer is pretty simple. Do the opposite of what they have been doing.
Right.
But can they get a win over the Mountaineers in Gallagher-Iba this evening?
It's tough. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll get the victory tonight. They've really struggled to find their offense. They've had some outlier performances. They just seem to they seem to key in on relying just on specific people every night. They don't move the ball as well as they normally do. They're so young, and we keep talking about this. They're going to be good in a couple of years, but they don't have a reliable bench. They don't have a deep bench right now. They're kind of struggling. Cassidy DeLapp got taken out of the starting lineup against Iowa State. So, I don't think they'll be able to win, but they have to just find some kind of consistency, some kind of lineup that they can run with to have a chance.
Well, as I mentioned, 18-6 Mountaineers coming into Stillwater tonight. Oklahoma State 13-11. West Virginia is 4th in the conference. They are 9-4. The Cowgirls are 4-9. So hopefully they can flip the script on those records tonight and put an end to this losing streak. So make sure you go out and support the Cowgirls at 8 p.m. tonight in Galgariba. There's another big game going on in college basketball this evening.
Yeah, probably the biggest game, you could say.
The Tar Heels are traveling 11 miles, by the way, to Cameron
drive.
Indoor to take on Duke. Duke UNC, I think it's fair to say the biggest, best rivalry in college basketball.
Yes,
Number
absolutely.
1 versus number 8. The ticket to get in, your cheapest one, $2,500. Just $200 less than the average Super Bowl ticket. That's
crazy.
insane.
That's crazy.
I mean,
It would probably be worth it, though.
yeah,
North
I mean,
Carolina's really good. You get to see Zion and all those guys.
if you
No,
had
it's
the
not worth
money,
it. I was about to say, if you have $2,000 to... No, I can't even finish that sentence. There's no way that's worth it. You can watch it on TV. I get the experience of seeing it in person. And if you're a student, hopefully you already have your ticket. You don't have to spend $2,000. Because I don't know a lot of students that could go spend $2,000 to go watch a basketball game. But
the ones at Duke, probably a lot.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, let's be honest
Yeah.
here. The Duke's a different school.
that's right.
Somebody paid $10,652 for a ticket earlier in the week.
Oh my
By the way,
goodness.
that $2,500 wasn't the average. That's the cheapest.
That's the cheapest, yeah. I'm
And
sure
the
the average is closer to $3,000 or $4,000.
And the cheapest ticket to the Super Bowl was $2,674.
Man.
Hopefully you see more scoring in this game than you did the Super Bowl. But
But this is probably the most evenly matched rivalry we've had of the past 20 years. Have you seen the stats? They've
I have
basically
not.
scored the same amount of points in Duke UNC. Duke UNC. They basically have the same amount of wins. Basically all the stats line up to where it's dead even. This is always one of the best games of the year. It's always one of the most exciting games of the year, so it's going to be a good one.
well, really quickly before we get out of here, you can watch for home at free who wins the game tonight.
Duke,
Duke wins by
2.
by 2. We're going to take a quick break, 47-hour quick break. We'll be back on Friday to discuss Oklahoma State athletics and everything going on in the sports world. Thanks for watching 101. We'll see you Friday.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided,
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve, succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.